Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're on Dune Chapter 3. And in this chapter, what's going on is the Reverend Mother is upset with Jessica because Jessica wasn't supposed to have Paul. She was supposed to have a female instead of a male heir. And the reason for that is because the Bene Gesserit was supposed to, or is trying to create the Kwisatz Haderach, and her having Paul ruin their plan pretty much because they're they're breeding they're trying to breed specific traits that can make someone to try to breed them into it. They're trying to breed the Kwisatz Haderach, and so they look for certain genes and certain genetics so that they can get those genetics into the next generation and so on and so on until they get to that point. And so the plan originally was for Jessica to have a daughter, and they were gonna get her breeded with Fade Ratha, the Harkonnen heir. But obviously Paul's a male, so it screws up the plan. So she's upset and says, and they pretty much have to kind of work around with what they have now. It ruined the Bene Gesserit's long. They've been doing this for generations, and after she tells her, well, whatever, pretty much, after she tells her all that stuff, she calls in Paul and tells Paul, because she has a slight hope that he might still be the Kwisatz Haderach. She doesn't think she's not very confident he is, but she has that slight hope in her that he could be. So she tells him there's a test, and in this test, everyone has died. But if you pass the test, you are the Kwisatz Haderach. She doesn't specifically say what it is, and all she does is gives him a hint. And the hint was that which submits rules. And Paul was a little thrown off by this simple hint. And pretty much she gives him an analogy where a willow bends to the wind until it becomes great enough, until it becomes many willows that blocks the wind. And I really like this analogy that the author does, because it really portrays, again, I love how he portrays what's going on what's going on not just in this chapter but so far in this story. That which submits rules, which I take it as being flexible with what's around you, making the best out of a bad hand. So Paul obviously feels like he's helpless in these scenarios. He feels like he's just a pawn in a greater scheme. Or like on Arrakis, right? The Fremen aren't able to control the harsh conditions of the planet, but they learn to be flexible with what they're given. They take the best out of a bad hand. And that's why they thrive so well. That's why they're there, is because they're not fighting forcefully a greater entity or a greater thing against them. They're working inside it. They're working along with it until they can get to the point where they can change all that. Now, obviously, in the Fremen, they can't control the conditions of the planet, but they had learned to be flexible enough to survive on the planet. And that's pretty much what she tells Paul. Now, we don't know what the test is. Well, if you read the book, you know what it is. We don't know what the test is. But I really like this analogy because it's really telling Paul that if you really want to change these things, these greater figures or these greater things around you, you can't change it by fighting against it. You first have to work with along with it. And then once you get to you want to get to a point where you're big enough and you're strong enough to where you can then change it. And that's what I really enjoyed about this analogy, because it really shows what we're reading. It really shows the audience, or me anyway, and it really tells me what Paul's going to have to do to change all these systems, or to change everything around him that he's clearly doesn't enjoy or like. And we see this already. Miss Jessica was supposed, like I said, was supposed to have a female. She instead had a male. The Fremen, like I said, they adapt to the environment. It was a hospitable planet, and they hope to change that, but for the time being, they work with it, work along with it. They're not fighting against it, they're working with it. So there's really this, yeah, that's what I really like, and that's how some of our lives have to be too. That's something we can all relate to, I think. I can definitely relate to that. There are things that you have to learn just to be flexible with. Not everything is gonna be like an anime. It's not like you can just power your way through. No, you gotta be smart with it. You gotta be patient with it. Just like in the last chapter, Feyd-Rautha has to be patient. He has to work in the shadows. He can't just be trying to confront everything, because he's not gonna get anywhere. And that's just how it is in life. There are some situations or some things we can't change. Not by forcing it, but we can get to a point where we're strong enough to change that in the future. And yeah, that's why I just really like that. That whole chapter is good, but that was the one that really stuck out to me a lot, and I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you for watching. I try not to make these videos too long, but if you are watching, I thank you wholeheartedly that you are. I just like reading the book. I like reading the books, and I just want to talk about them. Um, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else. So thank you for watching. I pray that all of you have a great day, and peace be with you. Bye.